Okay, welcome everyone, and it's game on. And what a fantastic round of matches we had last weekend. I hope everyone is excited as I am. I am very excited to be talking about the English Premier League. Game on is what we absolutely love. And first of all, we want to say thank you to all of you that continue to like, subscribe the channel. We really appreciate all your love. And today I'm not alone. As always, I've got my man with me. Let me go first to Face from the US. How are you feeling after last weekend?
Man, it was a close one. Kudos to Leicester. They gave it all. But this shows the quality, and this shows why we are up there contesting for the title. They never say die spirit. It was a very tense match, and we grabbed the entire 3 points at the 9 minutes of the match. It was a wonderful weekend, lots of football, lots of interesting football. Kopama made history and a whole lot of players out there. EPL will always give you joy every weekend. And like you said, kudos to our fans for being there, reaching out, making their contributions. It's going to be a wonderful day talking football with my guys. Nice one,
Abs-
guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, we've also got Femi. Femi, how are you feeling?
I feel amazing today, Eddie. Great to be back with everyone. And you can see I've got the mesmeric um, Leandro Trossard behind
Yep,
me.
yep,
So
yep.
Fez is very excited for Trossard as well.
I
What a
love the
what a
guy,
what a
man.
signing he has been.
Yep.
And didn't he bail us out against very naughty, very
And he
naughty
came very cheap.
and then we bought him for like one third of the money we would have paid for
Yeah.
for the one that went to Chelsea without mentioning his name. But let's say Mikhailo Modric, we'll say his name. So Eddie, I'm very excited, very happy. You had face about Saturday, and yes, it was squeaky bum time, wasn't it? But in the end, we got two late goals to calm down all the nerves. It's been a long time. We gave up a 2 goal lead at home. But thankfully, and that was a start that never actually came back to bite us. So excited to be back. Happy to see everyone. Hope you guys are keeping well. Thank you for joining us again this weekend. This is what we do because we love it, and we know you love it too. So welcome.
Absolutely, absolutely. We love the Premier League. And listen, you guys touched on quite a lot of things, Arsenal victory. It was a great weekend as an Arsenal fan. I'm sure lots of Arsenal fans were really excited about that. But I want to talk about a team that had a similar scoreline to Arsenal last weekend, and that's Chelsea. Chelsea has really gone under the radar. A lot of people are not talking about them. There was so much noise about Chelsea last season. Even this season, there was talk about all the players that they were getting. Everyone has a joke about Chelsea buying one player or the other. But I think something has to be said about their recent performances in the league. They also had a 4-2 victory against a Brighton team that we know are no mugs in the Premier League. So I'm going to start with you, FaZe, right? Chelsea has started this season. You could argue that this is probably their best start to the season in a very long time, right? Enzo Maresca is coming to the club, and it seems like he's getting the right tune out of the players. Now, Chelsea has a lot of young players. Is this a sign of things to come? Do we need to start taking Chelsea very, very seriously? And are they a threat for the top four?
Eddie, clearly, if you don't take Chelsea serious at this point, then you are seriously on a very long thing. Um, After 6 matches, that squad has shown promising signs. I said it when Enzo came. I saw his setup, I saw his determination, how he wanted certain players he wanted to work with, how he was ruthless in disposing those he doesn't want to work with. I saw that zeal and that determination, that focus, and I saw the way he laid out, his players and what he wants to achieve. I said it then, he's cooking something. Clearly we can see the signs, the team is getting better. Eddie, let me put it into perspective. You have a team that has played 6 matches, 4 wins. Now, something interesting. The 4 wins they have, they've had 3 away victories and 1 was at home. That is interesting. No, out of the 6 matches also, they've had 1 draw. And the only loss they recorded was the first match they played against City, which we all understand, was their first match. It came too soon. You're playing, probably the best team in the world right now, as far as I'm concerned. And you're playing them on the first day when you're still assembling your team. So you could understand that loss. But after that loss, you could see how they've progressed. You could see how they've been moving. For me, I don't see any other way, to point towards a team that, gradually have started finding their rhythm. If you look at players like Nolly, Nicholas Jackson, Kopama, what they've done in that attack, what Enzo has been able to is to integrate those three. Those three has been able to form a partnership, with Madueke's space and dribbling, he's creating a whole lot of threat on the wings. Jackson's speed and dribbling, for me has further bolstered the attack, and he is underrated, and I've maintained Jackson will come good. He has all the ingredients to be a very good striker. He reminds me of the, young Thierry Henry also then, plays from the wing until he was converted. Gradually, his finishing is what he's lacking, and gradually we could see that improvement when you have a good coach, we coach him right. And with the way Bama has been moved into the center, where he's, creating a whole lot of integration between these two guys, Madueke and Jackson, you could see how he's playing with flair, he's playing with freedom, and he has really, really improved Chelsea's offensive play. I see more goals coming from that team. And also when we look at their middle with what the stability and that partnership that has been created. The only area I know, they have problem for me is the defense, which I am still not sold with the keeper, Sanchez, and a whole lot of the Fofana and the Rice. I am still not convinced that defense will take them to the finish line. But when you're talking of a team that have come of age, yes, I think they are there. Will they finish top 4? I don't know yet, because we still have a whole lot of top contenders. When you're talking of the likes of Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Newcastle, Aston Villa, there is a whole lot of competition out there, and everybody is doing well so far, and everybody's firing. So the question here will be, how will this young squad adapt when the wear and tear starts getting in, when the Europa tournaments, starts kicking in, when tiredness starts coming in, when injuries start setting in? How will the squad, and I know they have a lot also, but how experienced and how determined will that squad be able to cover up and continue what they are currently doing? So right now, I think it's too early to really say, are they going to make top 4? But towards the mid-season, by December, by early January, we should be having a pointer if this team has come to stay and if they will get top 4.
Very interesting. Let's look a little bit about Chelsea, because if you look at the stats, and there's a stat that everyone talks about, XG, right? And you look at Chelsea's XG actually in the comparable fixtures that they've played this season, they're actually quite lower compared to last season. Now, I don't know what that means, whether the XG stat is not as reliable, but you could argue that Chelsea are actually, outperforming what their XG, is predicted to be, the likes of the goals that they're scoring. Femi, let me come to you. If Chelsea is going to get to where they think they are going to, what are they going to be relying on? Is it their attack or their defense?
Well, Eddie, you talked about the XG, and one of the key reasons why they're scoring a lot of goals, even though it doesn't look like the XG is high, like maybe you've got 10 expected goals, you've got 7 out of them, if they're scoring from very difficult situations, it's just down to the quality of Cole Palmer. We've seen that. If he's not scoring 4 goals on his own, he's setting up hat-tricks for the likes of Madueke, and even more than a goal or two. He's got this amazing partnership with the guy. Festus spoke very glowingly about that he's going to be the next Thierry Henry or maybe Didier Drogba, or whatever you want to call him, Nicholas Jackson. So overall, Eddie, I think that quality is just what really speaks for itself. They've got a player in Cole Palmer who just raises the standard of everybody in the team. Last season, we saw him do it, and he went and did it for England as well. Even in the Euros final, scored a brilliant goal to drag England back into the game. So he's a real talent. And right now, in the Premier League, there's no player better than him. It's very clear on form is the linchpin. But where I think they will win games, of course, is if they keep everybody fit. And just like Faye said, the Europa Conference League, UEFA Conference League is already ongoing now. So they might struggle with the Thursday, Sunday kind of turnaround. We all know young teams and of course, most teams struggle with that. What I also think is important is soon as the international break is over and they come and play Liverpool at first, and then on the Thursday, they play Panathinaikos away. So Chelsea away, and then Liverpool away, Panathinaikos away, and then they now welcome Newcastle. So 3 tough games in a week. And as if that was not enough, the Tuesday as well of that week, they also play Newcastle yet again in the League Cup. So 4 massive games in October. I think that's what's going to really define whether they're going to be the Tottenham Hotspur of last season that started really well after 6 to 10 games, and everybody thought, "Ooh, Spurs for the league title," and Spurs fans were already taking Premier League title, Premier League trophy replicas to the Tottenham Hotspur ground. Or maybe Enzo Maresca might not just be the new Ange Postecoglou, and he might just see things through and be the new Emery, because Emery kept Aston Villa in it throughout the entire season, whereas Postecoglou couldn't. So I'm absolutely confident, Eddie, that the measure, even though Faye said we should wait till December or January, yes, we can. But for me personally, I'm going to measure them this month because it's cold now. Let's see if they can do it on a wet and cold, sunny, on a wet and cold night in Stoke, isn't it? So if they go away to Liverpool, and we know what Liverpool looks like, they go to Panathinaikos in the Conference League. Then they host Newcastle. They go away and get points from those 3, and then host Newcastle, and then go to Newcastle again. Actually, they're not even hosting, they're going to Newcastle. I think that's when we're going to tell what this Chelsea team is going to be like. Otherwise, they might just be, it's almost like a game of 90 minutes. You know, there are a lot of teams that 45 minutes, they're in it. 60 minutes, they're still in it, thinking, wow. And then all of a sudden, it's 3-1 or 4-1, and the game is over. So let's see if they can last the distance, Eddie. But I'll say hang on this October, all right?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think, you can look at the quality of the opposition that Chelsea have had in the last, games. And you could argue that other than Man City, they've faced decent opposition, especially away from home. These are teams that most teams will struggle against. West Ham is notoriously a difficult place to go and get a result. And Bournemouth can be a very difficult team. It was a 1-0 victory for Chelsea, and they had to rely on Nkunku to come in, and make that difference. I look at Chelsea here, and I think that there is something in there, right? I think they arguably they have the best squad in the Premier League. They might not have the best 11, and you talk about what the coach is going to be able to do if he can get them all singing on the same hymn sheet, for 38 games. But you have to look at the talent that they have, and you have to say they have talent that can compete with a lot of teams in the Premier League. And really, it's all about beating the teams around you and making sure that you get some sort of results, especially away from home. And they're already now undefeated, away from home, which is something that most teams, are always looking for. You always want to win your home games and get a result away from home. That's kind of the roadmap that takes you, to that top 4. And you look at the players like Cole Palmer, right? And they may have just stumbled and Cole Palmer fell into their laps, right? You now think about the decision of Man City, to let Cole Palmer go and wondering, how could they have done that? Because absolutely right now, if you look at his stats from when he came into Chelsea, he's outscoring, the players like Foden is outscoring, lots of the Man City players other than Haaland. You can start to wonder, whether Cole Palmer might make that difference. And for me, I think it's going to come down to keeping Cole Palmer fit throughout the rest of the Premier League season, because I think he is their major difference maker. So I think, like you said, let's wait till October. Let's gather some more data and we can, revise our position. But I think, Chelsea are potentially a team that would put a lot of teams under threat. Let's talk about another team, right, that are under threat right now. Let's talk about Everton. Right. Everton, last season they had the points deduction and they were narrowly escaped, relegation. This season, they've started with some very crazy performances, going two up twice in games and then losing those games. And actually, it seems like the recipe for Everton is to actually let the opposition score first, and then that might be the recipe for them to win. So I'm going to start with you, Femi. Um, Everton, right? What do you think they need to do in order to stay in the Premier League this season? I mean, they're talking about new owners potentially coming into Everton. How do you see Everton's season going?
Well, Eddie, you said there are two questions there, I suppose. What do they need to do to stay in the Premier League? One, and two, how would their season? How do I see their season? Honestly, I think they just need to keep doing what they're doing. Because last season they did exactly the same thing. They'll win some games, they'll lose badly in some. Away from home, they'll suddenly be magnificent and go to away grounds and you will not recognize the same Everton. And then at Goodison Park, it's hands in mouth for their fans. So this season they started exactly the same way. The first 5 games, I mean, they should have gathered a lot of points, shouldn't they? 2-0 leads consecutively as well that they dropped. All 3 points. They didn't even get a point out of any of the two. But thankfully, last weekend, they got the first 3 points. So they're out of the bottom three. If you look at them overall, you said the quality in the team is not the greatest, but the quality of the manager, because in the end, the manager drives the team, isn't it? And he's somebody who knows the Premier League inside and out. And I think that's going to be a big reason why Everton will stay up. They're moving to their new stadium next season. So the last thing they ever want to do is go down because they're already in trouble with PSR. I mean, I say it's the profitability and sustainability rules they've been breaking, isn't it? And you mentioned them losing points last season for it. So I'm not worried about Everton. I won't lie to you. They're capable of going on the run. And suddenly Dwight McNeil feels like he's I don't even know who do we liken him to. Look at the goals he scored at the weekend. And he's been scoring. So it's just amazing. It feels like they've just bought a new player who's just coming and set the whole place on fire. It was Onana that was saving them at some point, and then Doucouré, and now it's this lovely, lovely lad who's just who's just scoring goals for fun. So no worries about Everton. I'm not concerned about them. I just hope that they don't get into trouble with points deduction again. If they don't get into trouble, they will honestly be very, very, very fine. Sean Dyche knows the Premier League inside and out, and that experience counts for so much, Eddie. So I'm concerned. I'm not concerned about Everton, honestly. Not at all.
Base, the ownership situation in Everton has been really complicated, right? The current owner has been criticized for bad decision making. They've spent a lot of money on players, and it doesn't seem like it reflects on the pitch. Now, they're approaching a new dawn potentially. I think the 777 Partners, a US-based investment firm, is looking to buy, Everton, and that looks like something that is really going to happen. Now, we've seen other teams in the Premier League, actually have an upturn, in fortunes after new investment have come in. Look at Newcastle, look at Aston Villa. Would Everton, also follow the same trend? Do you think new investment is what's required to solve the problems that they have on the pitch?
Yes. When we have new investors, naturally, especially when we have new serious investors, because I want to underline the word serious, that actually not somebody just that wants to buy a club for like a pet thing, somebody who is interested in investing and watching that investment grow and ready to splash some good money into that investment, yes, you see a bit of freshness, you see a bit of competition, especially when they recruit right. And recruitment has to start from the management, not just the coaching, not just the players. You must get the management team right so that you have to overhaul the team as a whole in terms of who will be in charge of recruitment, day-to-day management, and a whole lot of things must be in place.
So,
And
Face, are you saying that everything you're saying there sounds like everything Man U is doing in the opposite, isn't it?
yes, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to figure. Because when you look at what Man you have spent in terms of new investment, you could say that that is opposite. They've bought for the wrong reasons. They bought players who are expensive. The wage, everything is in crisis. We could see the level of players they're buying does not fit the profile of Man U. So you have to get everything right. And at the end of the day, you must get the right coach who has a vision. And I spoke about Enzo, and when Enzo came in, you could see that determination. You could see the style of play. You could see what he wants to do. He has set up what he wants to do. He has given a time frame when he wants to achieve what he wants to do. You must see those focus, and you must see that those plans laid down. And when you see the recruitment coming, you could see how the recruitment comes. So success may not be immediate, but you know that success will definitely come. So when we talk of change of ownership, these things must be in place. If not, we've seen Everton also. Remember, these guys are relatively new. These guys are not up to 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. And they brought in money also when they came in, the present owners. And what has happened? They bought anyhow, they bought some crazy signings, and at the end of the day, nothing has happened. So for me, after 6 games, like Femi said, and you're looking at 1 win, 1 draw, 4 losses, is woeful. A whole lot of defensive vulnerabilities, leaking goals here and there, not being able to sustain leads, even when you're 2-0 ahead, and some few minutes to the end of game, you lose 3-2. Those are appalling results. A whole lot of things have to change. There should be a bit of seriousness in terms of, heads needs to roll in terms of there's things that should not be accepted. Femi spoke about last season, how they were able to get. No, you can't continue this way. That's the truth. You can't assume that what happened last season must happen the same way. No, you may not get that. The likes of Ipswich and the likes of Leicester, you can see them last Saturday. These guys are not messing around. I think they want to stay, and these are the easiest people you expect to go down. And if those guys are not messing around and they don't want to go down, then it becomes a big problem for you if you're not catching up at this point. Because by the time you try to catch up, it becomes very late, and you could find yourself really, really in trouble. So for me, I think they have to get their asses right. They have to, improve on their offensive play, because goals has to come in. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has to step up. I don't know. I just don't understand. Maybe they need to get a new striker. Broja the bought, I think he's still injured. He has not been able to, start firing. And for me, that's also one of the wrong recruitment. You need somebody who is reliable, just like when we were talking about Nkuku, remember? We're saying we need somebody who should be able to give you at least close to 80-85% game time, be fit, be able to bang in those goals, at least be average in terms of goal scoring while others could contribute. So all these things, you could see a whole lot of problems. They are not there. They also have issues with creative issues. Onana left. They've been very, the Corey has not really stepped up. McNeil has been doing well. He has been trying, like Femi said, but, we have a whole lot of problems in the midfield, no creative spark. Also, so many things. When you look at all these things, add them up, that is why they are struggling. And I think they need to go to the market during the break, getting some needed refreshment that could really improve that team. And they really need to start winning if they want to stay in the Premiership next season.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think Everton squad needs a lot of reinforcement. Whatever happens with the ownership, there's nothing they can do about that squad now until January. And you would think that, when January comes, maybe there might be injection of funds. You look at across that, squad, they've got a good goalkeeper. I mean, Pickford is England's number one. He potentially always has the best save ratio, for goalkeepers in the season, every season. So he gives you a 7, 8 out of 10, in most performances. And then you start to look across that back line. A lot of the players are aging. They're still, playing. Young, in the team. I don't know now, he's probably 40 or so, as well. Calvin Lewin had never really stayed fit, to really contribute to the team. So I think they need reinforcement, and they need reinforcement quick. But between now and December, they need to find a way of not giving up. I mean, the Premier League is hard. When you go 2 goals up, you need to learn how to manage, the team, game management, and all of that. And you will think that with a manager such as Sean Dice, who's been around, you should be very familiar about doing that. But hey, listen, this might be a make or break, period for Everton, with new owners coming in and, looking for squad stabilization. But guys, let's know what you guys think. Is Everton heading in the right direction, or is this just the beginning of another turbulent chapter? And drop it in your comments below. Guys, we know how we always do. Before we go out of the door, we need to give some fantasy tips, to our viewers. Let's tell them who are the 2 players that they need to have in their squad. I'm going to start with you, Femi. 2 players in your squad this week, and who do you captain?
Well, Eddie, some things jump out at you very easily, as you can tell. Others don't. But this weekend is just so easy. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game. We've seen things happen in the Premier League, and it's not gone right for people. So, but I think at home to Forest, the very impressive Cole Palmer will probably be one that you want to stick in your team and expect him to score goals for Chelsea. He scored 4 the last time. I'm then tempted between Saka and, of course, the amazing Erling Haaland. I'm not sure which of the 2 of them to, even though I've got my eye on them, if I want to advise on Ollie Watkins at home to Man United as well. But for the difficulty in the game, I'm probably going to one, of course, the one I've mentioned at first, go with Cole Palmer, and then maybe I'll just do Bukayo Saka at home against Southampton. Otherwise, I would have said Ireland against Fulham, but who
Femi,
wants
who
Ireland
are
to
your
score?
two
Nobody. So
guys?
we'll go with
After
Saka.
the whole rigmarole, who
We'll
are
go
your
with
two?
Saka. FaZe wants to distract me. He wants me to choose Ireland, but I'm not falling for that trick. So I'm going to go with Saka, and I'm going to go with a very impressive Cole Palmer. And so captain,
Good.
easy one, Cole Palmer for the weekend. Eddie.
All right, Cole Palmer, captain. FaZe, who are you going with? 2 players in the squad, and who do you captain?
Okay. For me, when you look at the features, um, Chelsea playing Forest at home, there will be lots of goals. Like I said, the 3 guys are all firing. Palmer is is in a world of his own at this point. I see him scoring more than even one. I see him getting minimum brace in that match. So then when you also look at Haaland playing Fulham at home, Fulham on a good day could be tricky customers when they want to bet. Also, when they want to lose, they lose gallantly. So you cannot bet your money against Haaland not to score at home in this kind of matches. I can't see Femi Saka. Yeah, I know we're playing Southampton, but a Saka will always give you like a goal most times. Saka hardly gets praise or I'm talking of limited choices now. I have to pick 2. And when you're talking of these other guys, these are guys that will give you more than praise. You see them giving you praise hat tricks in matches, that are a bit easy. Saka will give you a consistent 1 goal in most matches. So for me, after rolling like Femi, I want to stay on a Haaland and a Palmer because I'm limited by choice. And I am struggling for who to captain between these two guys. I could just captain a Palmer at the end of the day.
Captaining Palmer, I think that's a hat trick, right? Because
Yeah.
I also have Palmer in my team, and when Arsenal play at home, I always have Saka, right? I think
Yeah.
if you don't have Haaland in your team, then there's probably a worthy mention there for Ollie Watkins,
Yeah.
potentially to have in your team. But I think for me, it's got to be Cole Palmer. They're playing Nottingham Forest. And I think, Cole Palmer will be in amongst it, either it's goals or assists. So you want to captain Cole Palmer and you want to have Saka because Saka is going to do something. I haven't seen, anyone, whip a corner so precisely like him on a consistent basis. And maybe one of this podcast, we're going to talk about Saka, really, really talk about him because I think that there's a lot of things that when people start to compare him with other players, they leave out some of the things that he does exceptionally well compared to other players. So that's a little bit tease, for the next podcast. So you want to come back. Listen, guys, it's been a great one. Absolutely enjoyed this one. You know what to do, guys. Please post your likes, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and put in your comment section as well. Let us know, how you saw the show today and how do you think about what we said. Guys, final word from you, Face.
Ah, it's always, a fulfilling time whenever I have the time to talk football with my guys. Um, guys, we appreciate your comments. We appreciate the fact that you take time out to listen and watch us. We want to see more comments, like we've always said. Reach out to us and get involved in the discussions. We want you to agree, disagree in some of our comments, and we want to engage you also in the forum where we could talk and discuss at length. Thank you for always being there and have a great one.
Femi, final word.
Yeah, I'll just echo what Izzy said there, but also just say, look, we're here because we love the game, and you're here because you love enjoying the Premier League. And I know the very, very famous and, of course, probably the finest footballer that ever lived, Pele, called it the beautiful game. And I hope you have a beautiful weekend with your friends and families, and just keep coming back for more. Like, subscribe, share it with others, and let us know how we can better serve you because it's all about the beautiful game. Thank you again, everyone. Have a brilliant, brilliant weekend, and I'm sure we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, that's it. Fantastic one. And another one in the books. Guys, have a great time this weekend. Hopefully there'll be lots of goals. And whatever you do, have your game on.